All right, YouTube, this Detroit's HPTV coming to you out of Detroit. Back with an interesting story and a tragic story on this Sunday morning. The story of Dacara Thompson in Baltimore, Maryland. And the story is not even being played in mainstream media because they are attempting to hide the fact that she was unalived by an illegal immigrant who was in custody and let out. And the governor and the liberals in Maryland don't want to cooperate with ICE. As if our communities don't have enough crime. We have crime from people who are not even supposed to be in this country, unaliving the citizens of this country. And as far as the sisterhood, where are y'all at? You should be outraged that this 19-year-old girl was unalived by someone who shouldn't have even been in this country, and ICE should have already detained and deported. But before I get into the story, shout out to Q&N Apparel, the best casual sportswear in Detroit. And if you're in the metro area, check out Q&N. Now, when we get into this story, I want you to think about the ramifications of what actually happened. This person that snuck into the country illegally was captured for another crime and let out. They didn't hold him for ICE. ICE didn't come get him. You have the governor of Maryland saying they don't want to cooperate with ICE. The police in that liberal city don't want to cooperate with ICE. But why would you not want your police to deport criminals who have entered into this country illegally and are in our communities wreaking havoc? Where is the outrage? It's deep because when you look at mainstream media, they're not even talking about it. But I want to do a reaction video, and I want you to see this story. I want you to pay attention to this story. And it's for fair usage under the 1976 Copyright Act for education and commentary. Look at this story.
Now, I'm not one to gossip, but I will bring you the tea. Welcome to Chronicles Speaks. Today we have yet another heartbreaking story. Today we're going to talk about Miss Dacara Thompson. This is a 19-year-old that wasn't just another name in a headline. She was a daughter, she was a friend, she was a young woman full of promise. Family and friends described her as radiant, kind-hearted, and ambitious. She had just begun stepping into adulthood, enjoying life, and looking forward to everything that was ahead of her. Her family is now devastated. Not only have they been left to grieve with the sudden and violent loss of their loved one, they are also determined to make sure that justice is served. This case is about more than court documents and charges. It's about a young woman who should be still here today. According to court documents, Dacara was last seen alive in Prince George's County, Maryland. Surveillance cameras captured her entering a black 2007 GMC Yukon XL Denali, a vehicle detectives later confirmed was driven exclusively by Hugo Rene Hernandez Mendez. Her phone activity placed her at his home at 12606 Cambridge Drive in Bowie, Maryland, during the early morning hours of August 23, 2025. At 5:03 a.m., her phone went dead.
This right here, ESPN Bet. This is the sports book that gives fans the tools they need.
On September 5th, detectives from the Prince George's County Police Department's Homicide Division developed probable cause to present charges for the murder of Dacara Thompson. This morning, criminal charges were issued for first-degree and second-degree murder. The facts of the case: 19-year-old Dacara Thompson was last seen on August the 22nd. She was reported missing the very next day. On August the 21st, her family located the vehicle in the area of Jasmine Terrace in Hyattsville, Maryland. On August 31st, what we believe to have been Dakara's body was located by the Maryland State Police Department in the area of eastbound Route 50 at Route 97. On August 23rd, in the area of University Boulevard in Hyattsville, Maryland, a short distance from her vehicle, at approximately 3 a.m. For reasons still under investigation, it appears that Dacara willfully entered a vehicle being driven by Hugo Rene Hernandez Mendez, 35-year-old male, out of Bowie, Maryland. Through investigative techniques and video review, detectives were able to track the vehicle's movement to an address on Kimber Ridge Drive in Bowie, Maryland. On September 4th, several search warrants were obtained and executed pertaining to this case, which led detectives to obtain enough probable cause to take Hugo Rene Hernandez Mendez into custody and present him to the court commissioner for the murder of Dacara Thompson. We believe the murder occurred in the home on Cambridge Drive in Hernandez's bedroom. Her body was taken to the location that it was recovered at by Hernandez. At this time, there are no additional suspects. However, this investigation is ongoing.
Now, I recently sent in my FOIA request for the statement of probable cause for this case. I haven't received it yet, so I'm going to read one I got from offline. Menendez, date of birth December 26, 1989, who will hereafter be referred to as the defendant. At the time, the defendant was detained and transported to the Criminal Investigation Division Homicide Unit for further investigation. The black 2007 GMC Yukon XL Denali, bearing Maryland registration 6FM8511, was impounded by Ryan's Towing and transported to the Prince George's Evidence Unit.
Now, I just want to interject here because even with the police officer statement, they really don't want to talk about the fact that he was in this country illegally. How did this immigrant was detained before for a crime and then let go? And they are concealing that or trying to because it doesn't fit the narrative with these liberal cities refusing to cooperate with ICE and deal with the immigration problem that was created under the last administration.
Further processing. Detectives had the opportunity to interview the defendant. Detectives advised the defendant of his Miranda rights, in which time he freely and voluntarily waived his rights and elected to speak to detectives. The defendant advised detectives that on August 23, 2025, he was at the Galaxy nightclub. Let it be noted that detectives know that the Galaxy nightclub is located at 2301 University Boulevard, Hyattsville, Maryland. This location is directly across the street from where the decedent was observed entering into the black 2007 GMC Yukon XL Denali, bearing the same registration that we mentioned before. Furthermore, the defendant advised detectives that he was in possession of the black 2007 GMC Yukon XL Denali.
My pilot friend showed me how to go to a 3-week summer vacation with just a carry-on. Before our last trip,
on August 23, 2025, at approximately 0200 hours. The defendant advised he was supposed to meet his ex-girlfriend, but he never did. When detectives questioned further into the investigation, the defendant denied any involvement and asked detectives if he could have a lawyer. At that time, the interview ended. On September 4th, 2025, at approximately 9:05 a.m., a residential search warrant was conducted at 12605 Kimbridge Drive, Bowie, Prince George County, Maryland. Detectives made contact with multiple other occupants of the residence whose names are known to the police. All occupants of the residence were detained and transported to the Criminal Investigation Division Homicide Unit for further investigation. Detectives had the opportunity to interview the occupants of the residence. Detectives spoke with witness number 1, whose identity is known to the police, who advised that it lived at the residence with its family, its cousin, the defendant, and 2 other roommates. Witness 1 advised that the black 2007 GMC Yukon XL Denali, bearing the Maryland registration, is registered to it, but its cousin, the defendant, is the only one who operates it. Witness 1 advised that its cousin, the defendant, had a drinking and drug problem. Detectives spoke with witness 2, whose identity is known to police, whom advised that its room is right next to defendant's room. Witness 2 advised on August 23, 2025, it recalled hearing the defendant having SCX around 0500 hours, 5 o'clock a.m. Witness 2 advised it could hear a grunting noise, which made it believe that someone wasn't enjoying the SCX. Witness 2 further stated that after a period of time, it remembers all noises in the room ceasing and it being silent. Later that day, after waking up, Witness 2 remembers walking outside of the residence on August 23, 2025, at approximately 1200 hours and observing the black 2007 GMC Yukon XL Denali was not parked in front of the house. Witness 2 thought that was weird because it knows the defendant doesn't work on Saturdays and the Denali should have been parked out front. Detectives spoke with witness number 3, whose identity is known to police, and witness 4, whose identity is known to police, who advised that they had no recollection of August 23, 2025, and that they stayed on the opposite side of the house from the defendant. A search of the residence, 12606 Cambridge Drive, Bowie, Maryland, was conducted in which multiple items of evidence.
So what we have here is a house full of immigrants where this young woman was unalived. I mean, it would seem that this story would be all over mainstream media. But as I've stated before, it doesn't fit the narrative. These liberal cities are refusing to cooperate with ICE. They are refusing help for the federal government. Now, how many lives will be lost in this obstructionist political game? We just going to resist any help, no matter who it hurts?
Value were recovered. Detectives located a bedroom in the front side of the residence. Detectives observed identifying documentation to include a social security card, identification card, and work pay stubs belonging to the defendant. Upon visual inspection of the bedroom, multiple areas were observed.
How did someone who entered the country illegally obtain all this identification? It seems like he had a whole lot of help from somebody in an administrative procedure.
With what appears to be suspected blood evidence. A phenolphthalein presumptive blood test was conducted on these areas with the suspected blood evidence, which yielded positive results. Suspected blood droplets were also observed on the defendant's mattress located in the bedroom. A white and pink fake French manicure style fingernail was located on the floor of the bedroom. Detectives know that the decedent had white and pink fake French manicure style fingernails when she was found deceased. Detectives also noted that when the decedent was found, she was missing a white and pink fake French manicure style fingernail on her left middle finger. Detectives were able to review a photo of the decedent's white and pink fake French manicure style fingernails and were able to identify that the nails in the photo are consistent with the nail recovered from the bedroom floor. Further, detectives recovered multiple pairs of women's underwear and lingerie. During the search, detectives observed 2 trash bins in the driveway area of the residence. Detectives opened the trash bins and observed multiple trash bags inside of them. Detectives searched the said trash bags and observed multiple identifying documents of individuals who lived in the residence. A further search revealed a white napkin with suspected blood stains on it. Throughout multiple trash bags, multiple black with the red tint hairs were located. Detectives know through review of video surveillance that the decedent appears to be wearing a wig in which the hair color is consistent with the hairs recovered from within the multiple trash bags shortly before she got into the black 2007 GMC Yukon XL Denali. All of these items of evidentiary value were recovered by Crime Scene Investigations Division and will be stored at the Evidence Unit for safekeeping for further processing. On September 4th, 2025, detectives applied for and were granted a vehicle search warrant for the black 2007 GMC Denali, bearing the registration that we spoke of before. At approximately 6:30 p.m., investigators with the Crime Scene Investigations Division executed the vehicle search warrant along with detectives. A Blue Star blood test was conducted. Blue Star is a presumptive test designed to reveal fresh, dried, or clean blood, neat or diluted in trace or sizable amounts. This test operates by chemoluminescence. As a result of the test, a positive result was revealed for possible blood evidence on the passenger front seat. In summary, detectives know through multiple surveillance camera video footage and cellular location data that the decedent entered the black Denali. Detectives know that the defendant is the only person who drives the black Denali, and the 2007 black Denali then travels to the area of 12606 Cambridge Drive, which coincides with the decedent's cellular device movement. The decedent is in this area on August 23, 2025, from 3:47 a.m. until the phone deactivates at 5:03 a.m. On August 23, 2025, sexual intercourse is heard coming from the defendant's bedroom, which sounded as if someone was not enjoying it. The discovery of blood evidence recovered from the defendant's bedroom, along with the hairs and the recovered fingernail consistent with that of the missing fingernail of the decedent's left middle finger, indicates to detectives that a physical altercation ensued within the defendant's bedroom. The discovery of the possible blood evidence recovered from the Blue Star test conducted in the black Yukon Denali indicates to detectives that the decedent was moved into the black Denali after the physical altercation. Further, the decedent was then located deceased with skull and facial fractures. Based on all of the above information, detectives believe that the defendant unalived the decedent in his bedroom on the morning of August 23, 2025. The defendant then drove the decedent's body to eastbound Maryland Route 50 between Maryland Route 424 and Maryland Route 97, Annapolis, Maryland, and threw her deceased body over the short bridge above the South River in order to conceal the crime and recovery of the decedent's body. The defendant was transported to the Upper Marlboro Department of Corrections for further processing. All events occurred in Prince George's County, Maryland, with the exception of those denoted above.
Let's start with what we know about Hugo Hernandez Mendez and his past interactions with the law. An ICE official tells us he is from Guatemala and entered the country in an unknown date. But we know when he crossed the radar, federal officials, just as recently as this past spring, he was not kept in custody. Today at the press conference announcing murder charges, state and county officials said he had been arrested by the U.S. Park Police last April and charged with a DUI, but was released. We looked for those records, but could not find them in the court system. We asked Park Police for charging documents, but they directed us to file an open records request to receive them. But sources close to this investigation say Hernandez Mendez was arrested on the Baltimore-Washington Parkway in Prince George's County on April 25th by the U.S. Park Police, who patrol the BW Parkway. Now, that's a federal agency. Given the federal push to detain undocumented people in this country, there are questions now as to why he was released after this DUI charge. Here's what County Executive Aisha Braveboy said about that arrest earlier today.
Well, I think that the U.S. Government has made status of individuals relevant. This was someone who was in their custody, and they made the decision to release him. So I think the questions should be asked of the Justice Department.
This man was arrested and then let go, and look what happened. What I need to do is hear from you. What do you think about everything going on with the Dacara Thompson case? Prayers to her family. I pray that you are able to get through the funeral and everything else. This is a terrible situation. You guys, I need you to leave a comment. Tell me what you think. And you know how we do? We'll talk about it down below. Talk to you guys later. Bye. As always, thanks for watching. But before...
Shout out to Chronicle Speaks. And as you can see, there's a lot of politics surrounding this story and what's going on with immigration and ICE and these immigrants. And as I've told you before, it seems that on the left, they are more concerned with protecting the immigrants than they are their own citizens. And in this story, I'm quite sure more will come out. But the main thing we need to know is, why was he even out? Why do we keep seeing stories like this? Why is there such a discussion about what to do with people who enter the country illegally and when they commit crimes? So you have to ask yourself, what is CNN or MSNBC or any of these major outlets, why is this story not as important. This story is not even as important to the mainstream media as Lincoln Riley. So this is just going to keep happening as if these communities don't have enough crime, that they have crime that's imported across the border. This is just sad. It's another tragedy. How many of these crimes will you witness before you decide to say, we need help? We need ICE to round up these immigrants. Because obviously, they say he had a job. So that flies in the face of, oh, they just come over here to work. They come over here to do more than work. Clearly, we're seeing that. So this is Detroit's HPTV, signing to you out of Detroit on this Sunday morning. And it's just sad. So as always, like, share, and subscribe. Salute to all patriots. And keep your head on the swivel. And peace.